Hey guys, we're going to talk about chapter 5, which is muscle fitness or muscular strength, in other words. So, we're going to talk about a lot of different muscular aspects. This tends to be one of the chapters that people struggle with the most with their physical fitness. So, please ask questions or offer suggestions to classmates that might be struggling. This is one of the chapters that I really want to work together on. So if you've not checked out your PowerPoint, please do so now. The PowerPoint is going to cover a lot of different terms that I will not cover in this video just for time's sake and for simplicity. So make sure that you review your PowerPoint to get those terms. Moving forward with muscle fitness, there are a couple of key pieces that I want you to know. So muscle fitness is divided into two different types of muscle fibers. So we have muscle fibers within the muscle, right, that makes up the muscle. So the two different types of muscle fibers are your slow twitch fibers and your fast twitch fibers. Your slow twitch fibers, operate at a slower rate of generation. So those fibers are slower force of generation, not quick movement. They operate on aerobic energy, so oxygen is needed for them to function, and they can function indefinitely. So the effort provided by the slow twitch muscles can be provided indefinitely, whereas the fast twitch muscle fibers are based on a fast rate of regeneration. So they're quicker to regenerate, they're quicker to move, and they do not operate on oxygen. So if they operate on oxygen, it is very little oxygen, if so. And they again are doing quick movements, so quick power, sprint, things of that nature. So those are two different types of muscle fibers. And I want to say that a fast twitch muscle fiber cannot switch to a slow twitch muscle fiber. They can't go back and forth. They're two completely different entities. So that would be like saying a fish can change into a starfish, and then the starfish can change into the fish. Two completely different entities, two completely different things. They may be in the same place, but they can't switch back and forth. So those are your different types of fibers. When it comes to things that affect your fibers, your muscle, I want to reiterate the biological effects because when we're talking about fitness, there seems to be a lot of biological questions. So I want to address that now. The biological differences, both men and women can gain muscle fiber. They need to gain muscle fiber. But I'm going to read in your book on page 143. It says, evidence has consistently confirmed that women benefit from muscle fitness training just as much as men do, with one particular benefit being the possibility of delaying or preventing age-related loss of muscle and bone mass, to which women are highly susceptible. So women are highly susceptible to loss of bone mass as they get older, loss of muscle. So if we can build that muscle between ages 25 to 30 and maintain it until about 60, you'll be in really good shape in terms of mobility, balance, and overall strength, being able to take care of yourself the older that you get. So those are very important factors. Again, it's important for both men and women to participate in physical fitness, specifically muscle fitness, but it's even more important for women to do it just based upon the susceptibility that women are exposed to muscle loss, muscle mass. So women, make sure you're taking key note of this. It's not just for men, it's important for women to participate too, even more important than men sometimes for you to generate that muscle fitness. It's also important to talk about testosterone because muscle fitness is linked to testosterone. Testosterone helps us build muscles. It helps repair the muscle fibers for us to continue to grow and expand muscle fibers. And men obviously have more testosterone. Women have estrogen. More estrogen, I should say, because women have estrogen and testosterone, same for men, but women have more estrogen, men have more testosterone. Men actually have 7 to 8 times more testosterone than women, which is why they're not able to build as much muscle in relation to the biological factors as well. So testosterone plays a key piece of building muscle mass. In age and use, we see a dip in muscle mass strength or engagement from 25 to 30. That's about your peak time period in life for both men and women. So 30 is going to be your peak physical fitness. in terms of what you can do, and it will kind of slowly trickle off if you don't maintain that or if you don't work it the same. So between 30 and 60 is the maintaining period of you should be working to maintain what you have or working towards a better muscle fitness to better prepare yourself for older age of, like I said earlier, mobility, stability, balance. All of those things are very key in quality of life, longevity of life, and just overall strength. There are different types of muscles that I want to talk about. So we have multiple different types. We have isokinetic, concentric, and eccentric contractions of the muscle. And those are all in your PowerPoint. There's a very good video showing you the differences. Please check that out. The isokinetic is where you're holding a position. So in the video, he's holding a push-up. The concentric is the shortening of a muscle. So I'm shortening my muscle right now. So me pulling it this way is shortening of a muscle. And then eccentric is the length piece of your lift. So lengthening back out, I'm lengthening my muscle right here in my bicep. I'm shortening it as I'm bringing it forward, and I'm lengthening it back out. So that's concentric and eccentric. If you have questions about that, please let me know. That video, again, is on your PowerPoint. On page 154, it discusses the training frequency in which you should lift weights. So if you are a beginner of lifting weights, 2 to 3 times is the recommended amount. If you're intermediate, 3 to 4. If you're advanced, 4 to 7 is the recommended amount. And we'll get to the overall program design. So on page 156 is a table that I really want you to look at and kind of gauge what you're hoping to get. So if you're hoping to get strength or you're hoping to get power, the intensity is right there with the number of reps you should do with the number of sets. So just for clarification, the reps are how many you're going to do in one moment. So say I'm doing bench press, I'm going to do 6 at one time, right? So 1, 2, 3. This is not the bench press motion, by the way. I don't want you to think that. But you're going to do 6 in a row. That's one set. Then you're going to take a break. You're going to come back and do another 6. That's set 2. So the repetitions are however many you're doing in one cycle. And then the set is that cycle. How many times you do the cycle would be a set. And then the intensity is basically your percentage of your 1 rep max. So before you start any program or you start anything, you should really get a gauge for your maximum effort that you can put in. So however much you can lift per exercise that you're looking to do. So go up by increments, obviously get loose, get warm, and then do your 1 rep max to see what you can lift and what you can't lift. You should be able to lift it, 1 to 3 times would be your 1 rep max on anything, and then you do the intensity percentage by that 1 rep max. So 75 to 90%, you would do 75% of your max, and then you would do that weight with that exercise. So those are the ways to design a program. When you're designing a program or you're initiating a program, there's oftentimes a lot of pressure or specificity put on a muscle. So I hear a lot of times, I want to tone my biceps. I want a flat stomach. I want my legs to look really good. Those are very specific muscles that you're targeting, which is the wrong idea of exercise. You want to focus on the movement itself and not the muscle. You want to focus on doing it properly, extending those muscles, contracting them appropriately, and working to build that muscle versus one specific muscle. You should always warm up before you start resistance training. That's the number one thing, or one of the number one things that I see whenever I'm teaching class or I'm actually engaging in muscle fitness, is that people just go straight to it. They don't warm up. They don't give their body a chance to get loose. You could certainly injure yourself even more adamantly or fervently than you would warming up. So maybe do a 5-minute warm-up. There's an example on page 157, warm up before you start resistance training. It says at least 5 minutes of light aerobic activity to get the blood flowing. So what I do, and this is just my personal, the way I do it, my personal routine, and everyone needs to find their own personal routine, is I will run before I start my weightlifting routine. So I'll run 5 to 10 minutes, whatever is comfortable for me, whatever's comfortable for you. You can walk, you can run, you can do the bike, and then stretch, and then hop into your weight training routine. Make sure you use proper form. When you're doing weight training, proper form is so important when we're talking about these exercises. You could get injured so easily if you don't have proper form, and I'll harp on that as long as we're doing any type of weight training activity. And the other thing is core and functional training is what's suggested in your book at the very end of your chapter. So let me see if I can find it. So core and functional training is on page 160. Core training, functional training, what do these even mean? So functional training is things in real life movement patterns that integrate multiple muscle groups, which is always the hope. You always want to integrate as many muscle groups as you can to burn as many calories and to gain the most from your exercise. So whenever people talk about core, I always get the submission of behavior change reports, or I get I'm going to do sit-ups or crunches to work my abs. Please don't ever do sit-ups is what I'm going to tell you. Sit-ups and crunches are so hard on your neck and hard on your back, and they really don't engage your core the way that they should. So if you're in the gym and you're doing sit-ups, please, I beg of you, if you learn anything from this course during this week, please do not do sit-ups or crunches. Do things like planks that work multiple muscle groups at one time. Do things like toe touches or side plank. You're engaging your whole body, and I will happily send out different videos, and you'll learn in Pilates that there are there's so many different ways for functional ab work that you don't even realize, like running is also good for your abs. Various things like that where you're engaging your core. So that's what that means with functional training. And I, again, will share videos if you want me to on that. That's the main piece that I want you to take away from this week is what I've wrapped up in this video. And there'll be another video on chapter 6, which is flexibility and low back fitness.